Throughout human history, we've told tales of the monstrous, the miraculous, and the mysterious. But few stories blur those lines quite like that of Siamese twins. Two lives, sharing one body, two minds, confined within a single frame of flesh. It's a condition that defies our understanding of individuality and challenges what it truly means to be human. From ancient superstition to modern surgical marvels, the story of conjoined twins reveals the limits of science, the resilience of the human spirit, and the haunting question, what happens when two souls are forced to live as one? I'm Dr. Pox, and today we delve into the medical, historical, and psychological mysteries of conjoined twins, including tragic legends like Edward Mordrake, shocking surgical attempts, and the extraordinary lives of twins who refused to be separated. Medically speaking, conjoined twins occur when a fertilized egg begins to split, as it does in identical twins, but the division stops before completion. Instead of forming two fully separate embryos, they remain partially connected. This happens in roughly 1 in every 50,000 to 200,000 births, and of those, about 60% are stillborn or die shortly after birth. The exact cause remains uncertain, but most scientists believe it's a mechanical failure of the embryonic disc between days 13 and 15 after fertilization. Depending on where the connection occurs, doctors classify conjoined twins into categories: thoracopagus, joined at the chest; umphilopagus, joined at the abdomen; craniopagus, joined at the skull; pygopagus, joined at the lower back; and ischiopagus, joined at the pelvis. Each type brings its own anatomical complexities. Some share a liver or a digestive tract, while others, especially craniopagus twins, might share vital parts of the brain itself. And that is where medicine begins to blur into philosophy. When two people share a brain, where does one consciousness end and another begin? In the ancient world, conjoined twins were often seen as omens, signs of divine punishment or cosmic imbalance. Records from ancient Rome, China, and medieval Europe describe such births as portents of disaster. In 945 AD, a set of conjoined twin girls were born in Armenia, and chroniclers claimed their birth heralded the wrath of heaven. These children were rarely seen as human beings. They were displayed, hidden, or even killed out of fear. By the Renaissance, however, the fascination began to replace fear. Physicians, naturalists, and traveling curiosity collectors began documenting these rare births, sketching them in journals, dissecting stillborn twins, and displaying preserved specimens in medical cabinets. But perhaps the most famous case of all came in 1811 in a small village in Siam, now Thailand. Chang and Eng Bunker were born joined at the sternum by a short band of cartilage and shared a fused liver. They were perfectly healthy otherwise, and would go on to become one of the most famous duos of the 19th century. Discovered by a Scottish merchant in 1829, they were soon displayed in touring exhibitions across the world as the Siamese Twins. But the Bunkers were far more than a sideshow act. They became savvy businessmen, retired from performing, settled in North Carolina, married 2 sisters, and astonishingly, fathered a combined 21 children. Imagine those mechanics. Though they shared a body, they lived distinct lives with different tempers, habits, and even political views. Chang was fiery and impulsive. Eng was calm and rational. When the American Civil War broke out, the two even argued over which side to support. When Chang died of a stroke in 1874, Eng passed away just hours later, still attached to his brother. Their story humanized what had long been treated as a medical oddity, and gave the world the term Siamese Twins. Now we turn to a darker legend, the haunting tale of Edward Mordrake, a young English nobleman said to have been born with a second face on the back of his head. According to 19th century lore, the demon face could whisper, weep, and sneer independently. Mordrake was reportedly driven to madness by the voice that tormented him day and night. begging doctors to remove it. When no one could help, he is said to have taken his own life at the age of 23, leaving behind a note pleading that the evil face be destroyed before burial. Modern historians believe Edward Mordrake's story was likely a fabrication, first published in an 1895 medical encyclopedia of curiosities that blended real cases with fiction. But, medically, a similar condition does exist, craniophagus parasiticus, where a second, undeveloped twin is attached to the head of the developed one. Only about a dozen documented cases exist in history, enough to lend an eerie sense of plausibility to Mordrake's tale. Real or not, the story of Edward Mordrake continues to echo the same theme, that even in the face of rare medical reality, society often turns deformity into myth. What is it like to share every moment of your life, physically and emotionally, with another person? Modern psychology offers some insight. Conjoined twins often describe their bond as deeply cooperative rather than competitive. They develop remarkable systems of negotiation and synchronization, learning to anticipate each other's thoughts, actions, and moods with precision. Some even report shared sensations, possibly due to overlapping nerve networks. A 2006 study on Canadian twins Tatiana and Krista Hogan, joined at the head, revealed that neural pathways between their brains allowed them to see through each other's eyes. And despite constant external fascination, most conjoined twins express contentment with their condition. Many refuse separation, even when it's medically possible. For them, being conjoined isn't an illness, it's an identity. The history of surgical separation is a delicate one, equal parts triumph and tragedy. The first documented attempt dates back to the 17th century, but most early operations were fatal. Without anesthesia, antibiotics, or proper knowledge of shared anatomy, survival was rare. By the 20th century, medical imaging and microsurgery changed everything. In 1953, surgeons in the United States successfully separated twin girls joined at the abdomen, a medical miracle for its time. Today, separation is possible for certain types of conjoining, but it's never simple. Success depends on how many vital organs or blood vessels are shared, and ethically, it poses enormous questions, especially when one twin cannot survive without the other. Doctors and families must decide, is separation worth the risk, or is the unity of their shared life more sacred than the illusion of independence? For centuries, society treated conjoined twins as curiosities. They were exhibited in freak shows, painted in medical journals, and whispered about as proof of divine mystery. But over time, compassion replaced the spectacle. Modern representations, from documentaries to film, now aim to understand, not exploit. Still, the fascination remains. It's a mirror of our own fears. The fear of losing individuality, of dependence, of facing a reflection that's not entirely our own. Conjoined twins remind us that nature writes stories stranger than fiction, stories of endurance, cooperation, and love under impossible circumstances. In their lives, we see the boundaries of human possibility stretched to their limits, and the haunting truth that nobody, however entangled, can ever truly define the human soul within. Thank you for joining me, curious minds. If you enjoyed this exploration into medical history's most extraordinary lives, please like, follow, subscribe, and share Dr. Pox's Medical Mysteries, where every week we uncover another true tale that walks the razor's edge between science and the supernatural. Until next time, keep your curiosity alive and your scalpel sharp. This is Dr. Pox, where the truth is stranger than fiction.